Again. Wow. Okay, we're going to do Dear Soldier, which I wrote about a month ago. Hope you enjoy it. Dear soldier, I know you care. Dear soldier, I know you care about the situation out there. Dear soldier, I care too. In that way, we're the same, me and you. We know that everyone counts. Yes, they do. No matter what's happening beyond the news, we know that everyone counts as much as me and you. Yeah, we'll lay down our lives if we're called to. For nature is wise, so are we. And love has no bounds. It'll tell us when it's over. Yes, it will. Yes, it does. Dear soldier, I know you care about the situation out there. Dear soldier, I care too. Though I'm just a singer that plays the piano too. Poverty, violence, hunger, desperation, confusion can be solved through us, Lord. Yeah, we're optimists at heart, courageous, yes we are. Dear soldier, love yourself just as much as you do. Dear soldier, love them too. May our every move come from that courage and grace. Yeah, put that smile back on our face, that smile of peace on your face.
Monica, Garcia-Medina and Bien-Mar Minosa. How lovely is that? It's so touching, beautiful. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. Those of you who are here, which is always an incredible treat. It's a whole different vibe, a whole different energy, and of course, anyone online, anyone virtual at any time. because they may not be watching today. They might be watching next month, next week, next year. Somebody shared with me, texted me yesterday that they watched a YouTube from a year ago, and it was exactly what they needed. So you never know, right? So we are in November. What? November, and the theme for November is Breathe in the View, and it's part of the theme for the year, which is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. I'm really excited already because the theme for next year has been created by CSL colleagues, and I got the preview, so I'm very excited about it. So that's going to be really fun. The assisting practitioner today is actually a practitioner student for year 2. She's taking year 2 online. And I'm really excited because she has quite a way with words. Lori Carlson. And of course, Monica and Bien are blessing us with their music. So the topic today, the talk that I have today is about how can we expand our point of view. I brought my binoculars, which is not the perfect metaphor, but you know what happens when you look at the two different sides? So let's use that as a metaphor and explore that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about or explore the idea that there's always room for us to slow down, not just movement-wise, but consciousness-wise, as a way to see more clearly, as a way to pause and take a breath, as a way to expand our point of view. So my name is Frankie Timmers, and I'm the spiritual director here at the center. If you want to know more about us, because you are a virtual, please check out our website. We do our best to keep it up to date. There's all kinds of stuff happening. I'm teaching a workshop that's 4 parts. It's called Stressed to Blessed. It's a question. Stressed to Blessed. So one of the words that I've heard the most in the last year and a half is, I'm so stressed. We're so stressed. Everybody is so stressed. Well, we don't have to be stressed. When we're on a spiritual path, we know that we can turn that to blessed. And there's this idea of good stress, bad stress, right? So we're going to explore that. It starts on Thursday, then there's one the week after, and then there's 2 more in December. So grab the flyer. And on Sunday, next Sunday, we have Kat Roman doing the 3rd mandala workshop, which is really fun. Whether you're an artist or not, you can do this workshop. And we're having her back for the 3rd time because it's so much fun. And it's online, so you can do it right from your home in your pajamas. So grab that flyer. And then, of course, we have what I do every year, which is a workshop on dealing with the holidays. And it's called Holiday Blues and Reds and Greens. So if you're not familiar with any of that, just look online because everything is right there. If you want to be on our mailing list, you can, and we'll send it out every week and remind you. Then we have Michael doing his Chakra workshop, which has been a wonderful series. And the next one is the Crown Chakra, and that's going to happen on November 30th, also on Zoom. And we have a little surprise 2 weeks from today when Gail Jones, who's also a practitioner student, will be presenting her brand new book and do a book signing. So come and join us that day. If you are virtual, let us know you're there. If you're on Facebook, use the thumbs up, thumbs down, oh no, that's YouTube. Make comments, ask questions, say hello, say hi to everybody that's there. It's always fun to do that. And again, if you want to be on our email list, let us know. Just send us your email address and we'll put you on there. So now we have the beautiful Lori Carlson blessing us with one of her poems and an opening treatment.
Good morning. Good morning. So, I invite you to close your eyes and hear these words as if they were your own. I know that there is one divine creative power, the source of all that is, the Alpha and the Omega, that which created everything from the smallest grain of sand to the farthest reaches of the cosmos, the power which I call God, that breathes my breath and beats my heart. I know that this power, this God, is everywhere present, in everyone, all the time. I know that it expresses in me, as me, and through me, as it does each one of us. We are just unique manifestations of this one divine energy, and we are here on this planet, on this physical plane, to remember that and to demonstrate that in all we think, do, and say. How blessed are we? And so right here, right now, I affirm that all is happening in divine right order with divine right timing. That this service is an expression and a celebration of our love and our life, and that it expands our consciousness and grows us to that place where we see the broader, expanded view, where we become a better expression of love in action and do our part to create a world that works for everyone. With gratitude for this teaching, for this service, for our great Reverend Frankie and Leadership Council and all of the people who create this expression of love which we are as a community, knowing that our next incarnation is always our best and greatest yet to be. I say thank you. With gratitude for all of our blessings, for all of this teaching, and for everyone here today, in person and online, I release this word into that loving law that can only say yes, knowing that as I think it, speak it, and do truly believe that so it must be. And I invite you all to join me in saying, and so it is. Well, good morning. Now that we're all really present and here and in this space, I would like to share a poem with you. The theme of today's talk, which Reverend Frankie told me about, is a broader expanded vision and view. So I wrote a poem. It's called A Broader View. This is just its latest incarnation. I was editing it as I was walking up the stairs, so it will probably change again. But for right now, this is a broader view. I walk and walk, up and up, trying not to talk, but listening more deeply to that which reverberates within my soul. Not the answers, but the questions. See the vision, not the view. Not the scenery, but the yet unseen. From this height, all possibility glistens in the fading light, or shines in the dark of night as an effervescent glow. See those stones I climbed across? Who laid them so tight and so precise for me to make my way over and up? Could it be those thoughts which I carelessly tossed out on previous journeys, taking form and making the way to create this overlook for my soul, where the truth peeks out and sees the all, the whole, where in every season there is the undergrowth of life, always waiting, dying, or blossoming anew. Here, from this height of vision I behold, of unseen mysteries continuing to unfold. And I reach confidently for the next handhold, knowing it's there. I feel for my grip, not fearing a slip or a trip, but walking with the muscle memory of acquired trust. which assures each step, free from doubt or regret, and keeps me moving ever upward, climbing towards that pinnacle for which I'm reaching, opening my heart and my mind to the lesson that love is always teaching. It's right here. I need not fly or cry to get there. Just hand over hand, step by step, stone by stone. Ever upward and outward, I train my heart, sinew, and bone, and use these eyes to see as God sees, everything whole, beautiful, joyous, and free. I walk and walk, ever up, and try not to talk, but open myself to the yet to be, listening deeply, looking in every direction. I find that divine love, which expresses itself as me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. All right, now it's you guys' turn to be artistic, and musical, and poetic. We're gonna do I Have a Dream by ABBA. Just found out they came out, they're having a comeback now too, totally coincidentally. and we invite you to join us in the chorus, the I Believe in Angels. I changed the words a little bit to make it more like my little science of mind Buddhist twist. Maybe you'll pick up on one thing here or there. But yeah, feel free to sing along. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels, and I know the time is right for me. I'm affirming it a little bit. I cross the stream, I have a dream. Here we go. We're doing it right now. We're making it happen. Oh. 2, 1. New high notes for this one. No. 2, 3, 4. I have a dream, a song to sing, to help me thrive through anything. If you see the wonder of your fairy tale, you can learn the lesson, then you'll never fail. All right, everybody, here we go. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels, and I know the time's right for me. I cross the stream, I have a dream. I have a dream of reality to help me through this fantasy. And my destination makes it worth the while.
And then we hear that ABBA's coming out with a new CD. What are they, 100 years old? Probably my age.
Oh, they're in their 70s.
They're in their 70s, yeah. So I'm so happy to see all these beautiful faces, because one of the things that we're doing today is we have a town hall meeting, so you're all invited, and Franny and Jean and myself, we brought some snacks, so you won't go hungry. So join us at noon downstairs, but you can meet us right after. So I think it's about 16 years ago, 17 years ago, I was in South Africa, and I had made a decision to move there. So it was my third visit, and I was so in love with the country. I was ready to live there. I felt so alive. And then I met my Norman, which kind of the universe said, no, you're staying here in Morristown area. So I'm like, okay, but there was this day with a group of people that I had befriended. I'm part of a meditation group, and there's people all over the world, and so I had like an instant family there. They even invited me to stay in their home, their little cottage behind their home, for a whole month. And we went for a hike, and I had these great Mephisto hiking boots. They're like the best for me. And I hadn't worn them in a while, but you know, I didn't know that your feet grow as you get older, or something happens to your feet. So we decided to go on this big hike up this big mountain. It was an all-day event. And I don't remember how many miles it was, but it was absolutely spectacular. About a mile in, my feet started to hurt so bad. It was like somebody was stabbing a razor blade into my toes, into the front. And I'm like, I am not turning back. I'm gonna keep going. So I found a big stick, 2 big sticks, and I kept going. And every step, my feet hurt. And I said to the rest of the group, just keep going, I'm okay, I don't wanna slow you down. But they each took a turn to walk with me, so I didn't have to walk alone, which I'm fine with walking alone in the woods. So we get to the top of the mountain, and it was the most amazing, spectacular view I have ever seen in my whole life. We rested, we had some food, we each brought some lunch, but then we had to go back and go down the hill. You know what happens when you go down a hill? Your feet slide forward and your toes hit the shoe on the inside. I had already taken my shoes off twice, thinking, what is going on? Because I've never had that problem. So we get back to the car about 8-9 hours later, and I took the shoes off, and a person looked at my feet and said, your toenails are too long. I'm like, what? You didn't tell me that earlier? I would have literally like ripped them off with my fingernails, because I don't care about long toenails, but he was right. My toenails were long enough for me to feel them with every step hitting the front of the shoes. But I am so grateful, and I'll never forget that lesson. I'll never forget that moment, that experience. But I will also never forget the moment that I got to experience with every step, to go up a mountain instead of quitting and seeing that amazingly expansive view. That even with the narrow-mindedness of my human experience, of my feet hurting every step, I got to still witness the beauty around me. And the one great thing about going up a mountain very slowly instead of fast, which I tend to, I'm a fast mover, is that you see so much more. And you see so much more beauty around you. I got to see birds and critters and flowers I would have never noticed otherwise. So the idea of a more expanded view, we have this opportunity every day, right? It's not exactly like wearing binoculars, but you all know what happens. Hi, Joni. Your eyes look so pretty today. There's Fernando. Hi, Fernando. You brought your whole family. So when you look through binoculars, it's great, right? It's not just an expanded view, but it's a closer view. When you turn it around, excuse me, bigger ears, maybe. Okay. When I look through the other side, I can't see anyone because it's so myopic, right? Is that the word, myopic? So that's a little bit different, right? When you have a camera with a wide-angle view. We have now the panorama view on our phones, which I love to do. It's like, you get to see the whole picture, right? So this is just an invitation for us to really think about our personal view. As human beings, Ernest Holmes says, we have a tendency to think negatively. As human beings, we have a tendency to have a very narrow point of view. And it's my point of view. I don't care what you think or what he thinks or what she thinks or what they think. This is my view and this is where I stay. We hear that now around politics, climate change, vaccinations, you name it. It's just that narrow view where we feel contracted and constricted. It doesn't always feel good. I know for myself that it doesn't feel good to be righteous, right? To think, oh, I'm right and he or she or they are wrong, which I still do because last I checked, I was in a human body, so it's part of our human nature. But it's really important for us to just notice what we're thinking and to notice what our point of view is and to check in with ourselves. On the spiritual path, we're always invited to have a broader view. So when we have a relationship issue or a health issue or a money issue or a creative expression issue, the 4 major areas of life, there's always that invitation. Can I have a broader view? Can I see something else? Can I have a more expanded consciousness? And mostly because we're on the spiritual path and we're in this teaching called the Science of Mind, the invitation is to say, how can I see it from a truth with a capital T point of view? From a science of mind point of view. What does science of mind say about this? Right? And so we get to, on the spiritual path, see more, be more expansive, have a more expanded point of view, be more open, be more receptive, which at the same time softens everything in life. I love Eric Butterworth. Michael's been studying his book, Spiritual Economics, right, Michael? And in Spiritual Economics, he says this, it's so simple. Some of this, what I'm talking about, is so simple. We're all going to sit there and go, oh my gosh, it's so simple. How come it's so difficult, right? He says it's a powerful insight to live by. Always get the view from the top. Before you react in negativity to people, conditions, or things, take a moment to lift up your eyes onto the hills, contemplate all the changing, challenging experience from the highest possibility, the highest possible point of view, regardless of the appearances of conflicts or limitations. See all things from the awareness of the allness of life. The allness is capitalized. See it from the allness of life and the ever-presence of substance. From the view from the top, you will see things creatively, leading to an attitude that is constructive and optimistic. So we have this invitation all the time to see life, ourselves, each other from a broader perspective, to leave a space, to leave an opening for something that is of a higher point of view to reveal itself to us. The beauty is it already exists inside. We're just invited to pause, to reflect, to not react, but to respond from that inherent wisdom that is already within us. We that are on the spiritual path, we no longer have the luxury to see life in too narrow a way. It's gotten us to the pickle we're in now as a world, as humanity, as the destruction of the planet, which is called ecocide. We don't have the luxury to think narrow anymore, because when we think narrow, we're part of the problem, right? So it doesn't mean that we cannot have our opinions. It cannot mean that it has to be a certain way. It just means that we keep our mind open to see the more expansive view. Because we don't want to use this idea that we need to victimize someone or we're victimized ourselves. We don't have to come from fear. That's also part of our nature, right? We sometimes feel like a victim. We sometimes feel fear or worry or anxiety. But that is just the experience inviting us to open our mind, to open our heart, and to open our experience. So we don't, not with shame and judgment, but with compassion and a deeper commitment to have a broader point of view. What does that require? Well, it requires that we slow down. The mind is very fast, right? And the mind is always thinking, figuring out. I teach, as most of you know, meditation in the jail, and I've been doing that for 10 years. The last year and a half has been on Zoom, which is almost more special. And it is so interesting for me to invite them to share when we practice meditation, because most of them say, my mind is like crazy. I can't stop my mind. And I tell them, well, you can't stop your mind because it's not a radio. Your mind is always working, but you can give it something else to think about so that you can slow it down. That's why we feel so good when we take a walk in nature, or listen to music, or hang out with friends that we love, or take a nap, right? So slowing down allows us to notice where our mindset is. Is it narrow or is it expanded? And what wants to happen? Just to pay attention. And then to be fully present. Because when we don't feel good, when we're judging or shaming or victimizing or worrying or afraid, what happens is we contract, right? We are caught in that really narrow point of view, and it doesn't just affect us mentally, it affects us physically, emotionally, spiritually. So being fully present requires us to not run from that, to not go for the spiritual bypass, to not just fluff it away, but to say, oh, I'm noticing how really narrow-minded I am in this moment, or how angry, or how worried, how afraid. Once we know what we're thinking and what we're feeling, we can do something. If we don't know, then we can't respond, right? The next thing we want to do is we want to listen for that internal guidance, that internal wisdom. When I was talking to my guys the other day, I said, you know, all of you have infinite wisdom already inside of you. It doesn't come from out there somewhere. It's already there. You just haven't accessed it. And one guy said, you're right, because whenever somebody asks me for advice, I'm right there. It was such a great awareness, right? So sometimes we have to say, what would so-and-so say? What would the Buddha say? What would Thich Nhat Hanh say? What would Joan say? What would Eileen say? What would Frankie say, right? We can ask ourselves that and listen for that wisdom. And then we have to be still. I have noticed that's one of the hardest things for many people to do, to just be still, do nothing, say nothing, just sit. We are the most distracted human beings on the planet. And we are more distracted than we have ever been because of our smartphones. And so our smartphones actually are changing our brain in such a way that it's difficult for us to be present in the moment and to be still. They are designed that way. Somebody's making a lot of money to keep you distracted. And so we want to pay attention that we have that kind of space, that kind of silence. Thich Nhat Hanh says, and I have a friend of mine has the picture, I have a different one, but he did a calligraphy that says, you have arrived, you are home, which was one of the big sayings that he would use at his retreat, which I done a few of years ago. You have arrived, you are home. It doesn't mean that you're cooked, you're done, because you're ever evolving, right? But what if, in this moment, You and I are enough. We have enough. We do enough. We have enough wisdom. We have enough awareness. And we get to apply it to keep our view expanded instead of to narrow it. Just means that we stop always fixing or seeking on the outside to try and feel better on the inside. And then the thing that seems the easiest of all, but is the hardest, is to take a deep breath. That's another thing I really notice in teaching my guys in the jail. I only teach the men. It's 4 different groups. Is that for them to sit and breathe is so hard. Because when we're in a stressful situation, what do? We contract and we hold our breath, which immediately affects our thinking. And so I invite them to just sit and take a deep breath. Sometimes they cannot breathe deeper than their chest, because that's what fear, anxiety, and stress does. And so taking a full deep breath is the easiest thing in the world, and at the same time, it's the hardest thing for many. And so in that breath, we can literally close our eyes and say, what else, God? If the word God doesn't work for you, change it. Higher power, love, divine love, universe, spirit, grace, green pickles, I don't care. Use whatever you like. What else? What else? So take a moment, close your eyes, and think of something that's challenging right now in your life. Something that you might be having a hard time with. Maybe it's something that you're concerned about, something in your future that you're not sure how it's going to turn out. Maybe it's a health issue, a relationship issue, a money issue. Just acknowledge it. Feel how it feels in your body, probably a little contracted. You might be holding your breath. Take a deep breath. What else, God? What else? What else do I need to know? What else do I need to see? What else do you want me to see or experience? I am willing to hear, to see, to feel, to know, to be more expanded. What is mine to know? To see. Then open your eyes. This very simple practice will literally dissolve any blind spot you may have. And it will open a new door in your consciousness, the door of wisdom that's already there, the door of infinite connection with divine love, with grace, with peace, with health, with harmony. It's really saying, I choose to use where I feel narrow and contracted. I choose to use it for my growth, for good, for my expansion. By listening to a different voice than the one I'm so familiar with. Usually the voice of the critic, right? And so it's about honoring, appreciating, and celebrating where you are in this moment. What's happening that's challenging you in this moment? Because it's a growth opportunity. Something new is being birthed. When I keep my mind open that something new is being birthed, I get information, I get support, I get love, I receive a little more peace. Because that's what it means that when something new is being born. It's not always comfortable. But when we breathe deeply, Mommy's in the house. We know it shifts. Just like with my very lovely Mephisto hiking boots. Knowing that I could still enjoy the view, even with the razor blades going into my toes, and I could still climb up that mountain. I've had a few experiences since then, like that, like this health challenge that I'm now moving to the end of and experiencing healing in. That's when we're called on that internal wisdom, on keeping our point of view open, on practicing the principles of this teaching, which is that internal wisdom, because there's never anything that's new. If it was new, you wouldn't understand it. Everything I ever say clicks already for you. I'm not speaking Chinese, right? And so there is a resonance, a recognition. And so we move from narrow to expanded, narrow to expanded, narrow to expanded, to greater freedom, taking in all of life and choosing to experience all of it and then rock it with the wisdom, the internal wisdom that is already inside of you. And we all do it at our own pace. We're not asked to do it perfectly. There's no God that says, you did a treatment once and it didn't work, I'm done with you. No, that's why I have 3 prayer partners. One is in the house, Reverend Janice, how blessed am I. And I do my spiritual practices every day, which is reading, studying, meditating, journaling, treating, all that. Because I have a long way to go. My mind still, it's like a darn rubber band. Stretch, boom, in my face, right? And so we keep practicing with that level of compassion and commitment that is ever available. So let's close that part with the healing treatment. And then we'll have a little more music. By the way, if anybody would love to have the November Science Line magazine, which is so good, I have a few copies here, so you can come and get them from me. All right, so let's close with a treatment. I invite you to close your eyes. And place your hand on your heart. How about both your hands? And take a breath and feel yourself expand, whether it's literal or figuratively. One breath. Wow, expanded point of view. And let's plant some seeds in that place. Because right here, right now, universal principle is as available as it has ever been and as it will ever be. It does not discriminate between me and you, him and her, this and that, there and here. It is ever available and present to be experienced, to be lived, to be used. And right here, right now, we use that principle knowing it is everywhere, present in everyone, everything, everywhere, all the time. We surrender any narrowness that no longer serves us. If there's anything that still serves us, we keep welcoming it. But any that no longer serves us, so that we can open our mind and our hearts to this place of having infinite compassion for the diversity of life, knowing that all of life is for us and never against us. Knowing that we have the capacity to thrive with every breath, every heartbeat, in every moment, and that we can use love to open to this. Because shame, judgment, fear, worry has already dissolved because it no longer serves us. So we allow our hearts and our minds and our bodies to open, and we realize the experiences that we are having are for us. They're there to open us. They're there to welcome us to that higher point of view that is so glorious and ever expanding because it's infinite. And so trusting the infinite process of our soul's evolution in this human experience, in this life, is the greatest gift we can give ourselves. And so all that's left is the deepest, most profound gratitude for life, for love, and for our spiritual evolution. And so it is.